Good morning. I'm in the town of Sandwich, Massachusetts, and we're looking at the home of our 9 times great-grandfather, Seth Pope, and his wife, Deborah Perry. Located at 10 Grove Street, right next to the Newcomb Tavern. Now, Seth Pope was the son of Thomas Pope, and Thomas Pope was the son of John Blakey Pope. So John Blakey Pope and Thomas Pope in 1630, they boarded the 400-ton ship Mary and John and headed out to America. Now later on, Thomas Pope, he married Sarah Jane Jenny, the daughter of Captain John Jenny, who's the owner of the Plymouth grist mill called Jenny Grist Mill. Now they were our 10 times great-grandparents, Thomas Pope and Sarah Jane Jenny. They had 9 children, including Seth Pope. Now Seth Pope was born in 1649 in Plymouth, and he died in 1727 in Dartmouth. But a funny story about John, or Seth. Now Seth was 1669, he's peddling his wares up here in Sandwich, and the townspeople and the constable, they didn't like this, so they kicked him out of town. And on the way out of the town, he yelled back, "I'm gonna buy this town." And sure enough, in 1699, he bought the town. He bought several farms, he bought the dwelling house, he bought the saw and grist mill, he bought the store and the warehouse, and a couple other properties. Now a little backtracking. You see Seth Pope, he 1685 was a lieutenant, in 1690 he was a captain, 1689 he was selected by Dartmouth to represent them to the General Court of Plymouth. In 1695, he headed up to Boston to vote against taxes, and at the same time, he was down in Fairhaven, hanging out with John Cook, who was our 11 times great-grandfather and Mayflower immigrant. So in 1699, after he got his wealth and fame, he became very influential, and he headed up here to Sandwich. But like I mentioned, he started to buy up the town. Now, Captain Seth and Deborah Perry had a son, John Pope, and John Pope took over the ownership of the grist mill when Captain Seth and Deborah retired back down to Acushnet, or Dartmouth, where they're buried in the Acushnet Cemetery today. And John Pope married Elizabeth Bourne, they were 8 times great-grandparents, and Elizabeth Bourne was the daughter of Alicia Bourne and Patience Skiff. So, that's the story of Seth Pope and Deborah Perry and their house at 10 Grove Street.